For the longest time, our answer to rising waters was pretty simple, right? Just build a higher wall. But with floods getting more and more intense, we're realizing that brute force just isn't going to cut it anymore. We have to get a whole lot smarter.
So let me ask you this. What if our flood defense wasn't just a static barrier, but a living, breathing system? One that could predict the impact on a specific neighborhood, a single power line, or even an individual family?
And that's really the heart of it. We're moving away from just simple physical defenses and towards these integrated, intelligent systems that can see the entire picture. It's a huge shift from just reacting to actually predicting. Okay, so let's dive right in. To build this new kind of system, we first have to totally rethink what a flood even is. See, a flood isn't just this one-off event. It's a trigger. It's a domino effect. It can knock out a power station, right? Which then shuts down communication networks, which then makes it impossible for emergency services to do their job. So to really get to true risk, we have to model all of these cascading failures.
So how in the world do you predict a chain reaction that complex? Well, you start by building a digital blueprint of our world, what's called a digital twin.
And this isn't just one model. It's more like a fusion of several. So first, you've got hydrodynamic models that map out where the water is physically going to go. Then second, you layer on models of our society and our infrastructure to see what that water will actually do, who it might displace, which roads it's going to cut off, and finally, you analyze how all these systems interact. That's where you find the hidden weak spots and the opportunities.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating because it shows why that integrated analysis is so absolutely critical. A recent study modeled river systems and found that if you manage all the little rivers feeding into a main one in a coordinated way, you actually lower the overall flood risk. But, and this is the kicker, if each one is managed on its own, you can actually make the final flood worse. It's a perfect example of why you have to see the whole system at once.
And believe me, these models are getting incredibly sophisticated. They're not just looking at rainfall anymore. They can simulate how wildfires might crank up flood risk downstream, or they can model the exact effect that plants on a riverbank have on a flood wave. We're even using AI to predict property damage with way more accuracy than ever before. I mean, that's the level of detail we're working with now.
So, a digital twin is amazing, but by itself, it's static. To make it really sing, we need to give it a nervous system, a way to sense and react to what's happening in the world in real time.
And when we say real time, we mean fast. New deep learning algorithms can now predict rising river levels almost instantly. This completely changes the game. It shrinks the gap between when a flood starts and when we can warn people, giving us critical hours, not just minutes, to react.
And here's how it works in the real world. In Texas, for example, they put these low-cost, internet-connected sensors right into the drainage systems. The second they detect a problem, that data gets fed into an AI model. The model crunches the numbers, and boom, targeted, accurate alerts go out, allowing emergency crews to get to exactly where they're needed most. It's the seamless flow from sensor to safety. This very technology was put to the ultimate test in a real-world crisis. During the tragic dam breach in Ukraine, teams used these advanced models to predict the flood's path. But they didn't just stop there. They actually integrated real-time social media posts from people on the ground to constantly refine their predictions, creating a dynamic, living map of the disaster as it was unfolding.
Okay, so we have the blueprint and we have the nervous system, but all the tech in the world is totally useless without the single most important component, the human element. How do we make sure all this stuff actually serves people and serves them fairly?
And that's where social innovation comes in. Take something like the Flood Label Initiative. It's not a new gadget, it's a new way of communicating. It gives homeowners a clear, super easy to understand label about their property's flood risk, and it gives them practical steps they can take to protect themselves. It's all about empowering people with knowledge.
And we have to recognize the full human cost here. Research shows that the trauma of a flood doesn't just go away when the water does. The mental health impacts can last for years. So a truly resilient system doesn't just protect buildings, it provides real, long-term psychosocial support for its citizens.
So you can really see the two different mindsets laid out here. The old model was very top-down, focused only on protecting physical stuff, buildings, roads. But the new, human-centered approach is all about protecting vulnerable people. It means experts and community members actually work together to find solutions. And it makes justice a central goal, making sure the people who are most at risk have a real voice in the decisions that affect their lives.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, the blueprint, the nervous system, the human element, you don't just get a better flood wall.
You get a completely new kind of city, one that's truly adaptive.
So what does this new city look like? Well, it's got a digital blueprint that sees the whole system. It's got a real-time nervous system that can sense and react in an instant. And, most importantly, it has a human-centered interface that makes sure all that technology serves everyone, especially those who need it most.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. As we look to the future, the ultimate question for all of our communities is this: are we just preparing by pouring more concrete, or are we building the connections between data, technology, and people that will truly keep us all safe?